Hello and welcome to the Frost Seymour Experience. I am Paul Seymour.
And I'm Nick Frost.
How's it going, Nick? How's things?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Not too shabby. Just sitting here in my Huel, even I'm not being sponsored by Huel, but if you want to get in contact, let me know. Yeah, not too bad, man. I'm eating chocolate fingers and drinking a cup of tea. How's things with you?
They were right. I got my beer. Also not sponsored by Asahi, but there we go.
But if you are watching out there, send them a
wouldn't mind a free crate.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, not too bad. Cool, man. So obviously we are here. And yeah, sorry, say again, man.
I was going to say, you're looking a lot chipper than I thought you'd be, given the subject of tonight's podcast.
Well, you know what? There comes a time in a man's life where you've got to sit back and just think to yourself, fair play, you know? And the way we've been playing, I can't really do much about that. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into obviously going into the podcast. And I'm not as sad as I probably should be, but it's what it is. Anyway, your season ended as well, of course. Survived. Obviously, you survived weeks ago, didn't you? Really, but do you feel that there's something coming up for you guys coming up soon? Do you reckon you're going to be next season, maybe, hopefully?
We have got a real big job to do. We need Tony out. He's taken us as far as he can go, and we've also got a real big fight on our hands to keep Adam Armstrong. Let's face it, if we didn't have him this season, we would have been down. I think he scored 28 goals this season for us, which is the most since Shearer.
Wow, that's amazing. Since he did he did his thing in 1994, 95. Alan Shearer.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. But,
the vultures are already circulating, unfortunately.
Well, you know what, mate? They will do. You know, especially while you're in the Championship as well. The Prem teams will be like, well, we got a bit of clout because we're in the Prem. You know what they're like. So, but anyway, less doom and gloom and to more doom and gloom. And on to our first slide of the evening. There it is.
Yes, Manchester City have been crowned Premier League champions 2020-2021.
Well, what have you got to say about it, first of all? Because I'm not talking yet.
Well, if we move along to the next, it's a very nice picture of Pep and the squad, but if we go to the next screen, we've got a bit of info there. It's their third title in 4 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've already won the Carabao Cup this season, so they've done the double. Can they get the third cup of the season? That's the question. But let's talk about the league first, though, before we look at that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it became official this weekend, didn't it? But it was over weeks ago, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
So they've cruised it, really. Absolutely cruised it.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's the first team that have been 8th at Christmas time, and then obviously then came up to eventually win the league. I think that's the first time it's ever been done in Premier League history, at least, which is outstanding, really. But one thing I will have, I mean, obviously I'm going to sugar on it without saying a swear word, because obviously being a bitter Liverpool fan right now, is the fact that I think the season's just been all over the shop for everyone else. I think every Man United, maybe they might have a little bit of luck, but every other team just don't know what they're doing. They're winning, they're losing, winning and losing. You know, once Man City got on that road, it was pretty much a straightforward path. It was just all systems go, and they just really didn't look back. They lost a few along the way, but really they were too far ahead, really, to have anyone else to compete.
Yeah, I agree. Can you take the title back next season?
I think we've got a lot to do. I think we do have a lot to do. Obviously, I went for Chelsea in the predictions. I think they've started to make a move now, of all times, to start going for cups, which we'll get into later on. But yeah, they were my choice. I think they're going to be a strong contender again. Obviously, Man City, they're always going to be up there, 1 or 2, I think, for next season. Either champions or runners or one of the two. So when it comes to Liverpool, I don't think we will. I think we might go for 3rd. But at the moment, I can't really predict that, to be honest. So we'll see.
Things have changed 1 year on.
I know, right? So confident, so I was.
Unfortunate. But you know, your season can be summed up with the loss of Van Dijk. That's it for me.
Yeah, I think so.
He'll be back next year, so
Yeah, hopefully he's all back and ready to go next year. He's got the Euros coming up. He probably wants to be fit for that. But we'll see. I mean, I know City fans were saying, well, we haven't had a Aguero all season, but granted they haven't. But what they have got is a heck of a team that you don't need Aguero. You've got a bench that could get into any Premier League first 11. Aguero is just like, an old, I mean, it's still a legend striker, my goodness. But at the same time, when you've got a team like that and you can leave him on the bench, I think that states it all, really, doesn't it?
Well, exactly. For the people saying that, well, he's fully fit now, but he's not getting in the team, is he? So
exactly right. Yeah, I think that states it all. But,
Van Dijk did come out today, though, and he will not be playing in the Euros. He's going to rehab instead. He's continuing the recovery. That's news from today.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, that's good for Liverpool, and I'm happy with that. But at the same time, I do feel bad for him, because I know that he was up for this, and obviously the Dutch squad had a good chance of winning the Euros. So I'm sad for him for that regard. But yeah, he just needs to recover. Like I said, that injury was, it was a lot worse than I first thought when it first happened. I mean, it looked bad, but he was walking it off. If he's walking, sure, that can't be too bad. But obviously, took a year of his career off, so he's got to think about that first.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I think the only thing to say really is congratulations to Pep and City. They walked the walk, they talked the talk.
Yeah.
At the minute, they look pretty unstoppable to me.
Yeah.
So
the only team that seems to be able to stop them is Chelsea.
Yeah, well, that leads us to the next question. Can they add the third cup of the season? We see D. Fleffer. He thinks they can. Do you agree?
I think yes. Very straightforward by the Fleffer. I don't know, man. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know if they can do it. I think in the Champions League final they might just turn up. I got a feeling that Man City are going to just be like, you know what, let's go for it, and they will turn up. I do think they will. I think they'll pick Chelsea to the Champions League final. Yeah. How about yourself? What do you think?
I think City will win it. Of course, Chelsea have just lost 1-0 to Arsenal this evening, playing a pretty strong, more or less a full-strength team.
Wow.
And just for anyone who's not seen the goal, it was a disastrous back pass from Jorginho, who almost scored an own goal, but effectively cost them the goal. Not really something you want to be doing when you're playing for a place in the final squad, is it?
That's exactly right, mate. Yeah, that's a bit mad. So Arsenal won 1-0.
They did, yeah. Quite a boring game by all accounts, but, a great win for Arsenal.
Yeah, fair play to them. Again, never hit and miss team. You don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal. 1 minute they're doing okay, and then next minute they're sliding down. I mean, after Aubameyang, after he re-signed, everyone was, oh great, here we go, we're going to fire all cylinders. I would call him the flop of the season myself, after what I've seen with him. But yeah, again, God knows where Arsenal are going to finish this season. I mean, that's way, way, way down from what their fans expect, at least. But
sure. I mean, he's got somewhat of an excuse. He was diagnosed with malaria, which he'd been carrying for quite a while.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then yeah, that's no wonder. I mean, I can't really kick a ball at the best of times, let alone with malaria in my blood. Crikey. So okay, yeah, fair enough.
If we move along, we'll actually have a closer look at the final.
Here we go.
So this is how Manchester City got there. So obviously they won their group.
Yeah.
Beat Borussia. I don't even know how you say that. Mönchengladbach, maybe.
Mönchengladbach, yeah.
They beat them 4-0 in the round of 16.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Dortmund 4-2 in the quarters in a pretty thrilling game that was, actually.
Yeah.
And obviously they battered Paris, really. Neymar, who?
Yeah, exactly.
So then we've got the probable lineup of Ederson, Walker, Stones, Ruben Diaz, Zinchenko, Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho, Gundogan, Mahrez, De Bruyne, and Foden. Mahrez has been spectacular in specifically the Champions League this season.
Yeah.
But for me, Ruben Diaz has been probably their player of the season.
He's been so solid, hasn't he?
He's been brilliant in defence for them.
Yeah.
He's been this season what Van Dijk was for Liverpool last season for me.
Yeah. I think that's how they've reclaimed it, to be fair. obviously we're talking about Foden. Obviously, he's been fantastic all the way through. Gundogan has been unbelievable. Isn't it? Best season he's ever had, I think. But then you got to think of Ruben Diaz, 100%. Yeah.
So, do you want to go through how Chelsea got there?
Indeed, yes. Yeah, so obviously, Chelsea started off as Group E winners. Round of 16, they won 3-0 overall against Atletico, who obviously are fighting for a Spanish championship at the moment. So that was a good result for them. 2-1 overall versus Porto. We thought Porto was going to be the weak link. Eventually, it did turn up, but they did manage to get a goal, which was good. And the semi-final against Real Madrid. Real Madrid, who knocked Liverpool out. I think, to be fair, Real Madrid are an aging old team now. You know, the old gunslingers just finally bowed out to the Chelsea pressure. And made it into the final, of course, which would be the second time since, third time overall, I believe, isn't it? But the second one since 2012 since they won it. So, be interesting to see how that goes. So you've got Chelsea's probable line. You've got Mendy in goal, Christensen, Thiago Silva, which would be his second final in a row. Obviously, he was with Paris Saint-Germain last year. Rudiger, Azpilicueta, you got Jorginho, Kante, Chilwell, Havertz, Werner, and Mount. So looking at that team, looks pretty strong. It's usually the team they tend to do well with. The standout player for me in that team, I think, has been Mendy. Of all the other players have been great. Obviously, Mount's done well. Havertz has obviously done well. Kante's solid as always. But Mendy has been a fantastic goalkeeper since being brought in. After Kepa obviously had a bit of a disaster. You get the start of the season, Mendy come in, and he's just really done really well in front of those sticks.
Yeah, I agree. They really struggled after Czech left, didn't they, to get a long-term replacement?
Yeah.
But it looks like they've now found it in Mendy.
Yeah.
So you can watch this on the 29th of May, 8 o'clock, this big game. I'm looking forward to it. I think it will be a good game.
Yeah, it'll be on the major stations. When I think they'll be on YouTube as well, live for free on the BT Sport website. Or if you're from obviously other seas, then obviously check them out on your local listings. But yeah, maybe an old Blighty, it'll be on YouTube or BT Sport.
Well, indeed.
Okay.
What's your score prediction?
Ooh, score prediction. I think it's going to be 3-1 to Man City.
Man City. I believe it will be 2-1 Man City with Mahrez getting the winning goal, one of his tap-ins from a cut across the box, the typical Man City goal.
I think that's a good idea. I'd like that. I prefer the 2-1 over the 3-1. I think the reason I said 3-1 is I think it'll be 1-1 for a while. Man City will get 2-1. Chelsea will be fighting for an equaliser, and then they'll get them on the counter, and just De Bruyne will finish it off with a third at long range because Mendy's happened to come out of his box for a little bit to try and help, and it's just going to be a blind. I just think that's how it's going to go. Maybe it's just I've not seen the future. If it does happen that way, don't come to me. I don't know the lottery numbers. Yeah, but either way, I think it's good for English football anyway.
It's very good for English football. 2 teams in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much better, does it? No, and of course, we were very close to having 2 teams in the Europa League final as well until, unfortunately, Arsenal turned in a poor performance.
I think now we know how Arsenal fans feel. Just let everyone down again. So Arsenal fans have been let down like last season, this season, all the season. Well, they won the FA Cup last season. They can't complain too much. But I think we know how they feel now. All right.
Obviously, before the Champions League final, we have the FA Cup final, which is this Saturday.
Which is our next preview, which is just here.
15th of May, this Saturday.
Yeah.
Chelsea versus Leicester. Leicester's 5th FA Cup final in their history, having lost all 4 previous finals. Not a nice start, is it?
Looks a bit terrible, that one. Oh.
Can they change that this weekend?
Interesting. I've seen the way Leicester played against Manchester United. I didn't think they outplayed them, but however, I think Manchester United's team was a bit lackluster, to say the least. But Leicester, again, up and down. Yeah, they're 3rd at the moment in Premier League. Their cup run's obviously slightly different to that. I think it'll be a good game. If they beat Chelsea, I think Chelsea will be more desperate to win the Champions League. Otherwise, they've lost pretty much everything this season, haven't they? They might get a Premier League spot, but that's about it. So they wouldn't have improved from last season. So I think Leicester would be nice for them to see them win it. I'd like to see them add a bit of silverware after they won the Premier League a couple of years back. Overall, though, I think Chelsea are going to win this 2-0.
2-0. It's a solid prediction.
Yeah.
I'd very much like Leicester to win it, but I tend to agree. Chelsea is probably just a bit too strong at the minute, especially with how Leicester are, as you say, so up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat, let's be honest, effectively Manchester United's B team yesterday.
Yeah.
And before that, they were battered by Newcastle.
Yeah, up and down. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, like you said, the stats there, lost the last previous 4 FA Cup. I mean, that's just rough. That means they've got to break the duck somehow. Hopefully, Brendan Rodgers is the man to do it. But then there's a stat down there. Chelsea have won 8 FA Cups in their history, third of all time behind Arsenal and Tottenham, respectively. So, yeah, Chelsea have always been one of the big FA Cup final teams. I just think that history will carry forth and override Leicester, unfortunately, for Leicester, naturally.
So we're doing FA Cup stats there that we've got listed. Let's just make a note that my mighty Blackburn were the first team to win the FA Cup 3 times in a row.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, fact of the day, guys. Note that down.
Not that long ago, either. 1800s.
Oh, dear, our great-grandfather's great-grandfather, I don't think, would have seen it. But
it's probably up front.
Yeah, probably. In the long shorts. No, I know, fair play. I mean, Blackburn have got a heck of a history. I'd like to see him in the FA Cup final next season against Liverpool. That'd be great, wouldn't it? We'd have to go see it if it does ever happen. Brilliant. Yeah.
I'm going to go for a Leicester 1-0 win.
Ooh,
I reckon Brendan's going to work his magic. Chelsea, let's be honest, they've got a bigger game in the Champions League final after it.
Yeah.
Will they be a bit their mind elsewhere?
Possibly.
Shouldn't be, but you never know. Leicester 1-0 win for me. Madison free kick, 25 yards.
A fellow Cali lad, yeah?
That's the one.
Probably sat in one of our seats at school, funnily enough. So just in case anyone out there is wondering, James Madison went to the same school in our city as us as seniors. So he probably sat in our seats at some point. Probably shared the same seat with him long way down the line. I think he started about, 5 years after us or something? Maybe.
10 years, I'd imagine.
Oh, 10 years, yeah, probably, yeah. Different school, I suppose. That's a little bit of claim to fame. That's about it. Yeah. Quick question then, Nick, if that's the case, do you think that will affect Chelsea's game plan in the final against Man City if they lose to Leicester?
If they lose to Leicester, I think we could go either way, couldn't it? You might be more fired up. It might knock you mentally. It's really hard to tell. I think if they lose this game, they'll probably do better against Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah. But a shout out to Thomas Tuchel. Let's not forget he took over mid-season Chelsea, steered them to the Champions League and FA Cup finals. He's done pretty well there. Yeah,
I think he has done well. I think it was with Frank. He was thrown, I think, way too early. And even though he did well with the signings, I think he got a decent team together, in my opinion. It's just getting that team together. It's the training methods, etc., etc. And once you are a player becoming a boss, it's a little bit different to actually being a boss for a long period of time. And Thomas has done it at PSG, hasn't he? Done it at Dortmund. He knows how to work a team and how to get moving, motivated. So that I don't think Frank was just ready for yet. So fair play to him. Yeah, he has took over a team and he's had to do what he can with it. And I think he's done a great job. So yeah, fair play to him.
They actually mentioned an interesting stat earlier on the Chelsea-Arsenal game.
Okay.
Chelsea's goal scorers this season, they do not have one goal scorer in double figures.
Really? Not one?
Their top goal scorer is 6 goals across all competitions.
Is that Werner?
It is Werner. Werner, and he's tied with a couple of other players. 6. And they've got this far.
That's mad, isn't it? That is absolutely mad. Yeah.
Is that a good or a bad thing? Well, it's good in a way. The goals are shared around because they're still winning games.
Yeah. But when you look at the overall, have they got an outright goal score? I mean, okay, he's got the goals, but can we talk in the same sense of like Kane and Salah? No. But it's his first Premier League season. We'll see how he gets on next season if he decides to carry on. But yeah, like you said, being spread out, Man City did a lot of that this season, didn't they? They spread the goals out, and I think every player in that team stood up, and that's how they've won the league. So, but it's an interesting stat. It really is. And obviously, from a bit of good news down to bad. Here we go.
You have the highs, and then, of course, there are sadly the lows for the three now confirmed relegated teams: Sheffield United, West Brom, and Fulham. Let's be honest, they've been the bottom three for quite a while.
For a long time now. Yeah.
Obviously, Sheffield were the first to go quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I think, have they now passed, with that recent win, have they passed Derby's record? Have they avoided that being the worst of all time?
I think Derby were on 15 points when they got knocked down. So they're on 17. So they've just beaten them by 2 points. And they've obviously took up 3 chances to improve on that. Not that it is much of an improvement. You're still down, aren't you?
Still not a record you won as a player, though, is it? The worst Premiership team of all time. So, give them that. They've avoided that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, I mean, you've mentioned it before, didn't you? I mean, I tried to make a bold prediction that Sheffield United will come out of this at some point. And that flopped big time, that prediction. And my goodness, they're 20 points behind the 17th position, Brian. I mean, that's just wrong, isn't it? But yeah, all 3 confirmed down. It's a shame. I feel bad for West Brom. I do actually quite like West Brom, funnily enough. Sheffield United had a fantastic season last season, way above and beyond. But flat straight down. Obviously, then you got Fulham, who finalised that this weekend with I think did they lose 2-0 at home to Burnley, and that was it.
They did, yeah. It's a poor performance, really.
Yeah,
it's a shame for Scott Parker and his boys because they actually play some nice football. They're just not at the required standard, unfortunately.
That's right. Yeah, he looked proper gutted the other day when I saw him interviewed by Carragher and Neville on Sky Sports. So he was proper like down hard. You could see he's ready for the next season already. Like he's ready to go. But I did feel bad for him. Obviously, Big Sam, massive talking point here. Never got relegated before. Always managed to avoid the drop. But that record, sadly, comes to an end with West Brom.
Very proud record, of course. He had a big part in keeping Blackburn up for a long time. So, I have a lot of affection for Big Sam. Let's never forget when Big Sam was sacked from Blackburn. We were 9th in the Premiership. 9th in the Premiership.
Oh, mad at that.
And then it was, bye-bye baby, as it were.
Yeah, Big Sam's always got one of those characters, hasn't he? But the question I want to ask you, Nick, obviously, being a Blackburn fan, having him as your manager at some point, do you think taking this West Brom job on at the time was a step too far?
Yeah, it was an impossible task. I don't believe there is a single manager who could have kept that team up at the time he took them over.
Yeah,
I think maybe if he took over at the start of the season, had a whole season and a transfer window, maybe. But at the time he took them over, they were already down. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, they were fighting a losing battle, really, weren't they? They were sinking ship. And the thing is, it's not as if like the teams above them were doing great. They were pulling wins out here and there, but not doing enough. Because
I can see why. I can see why you take the challenge on. You'd look at maybe a Brighton or a Newcastle and think, okay, maybe I can just sneak past them.
Yeah.
But, sadly, no. Let me ask you this, Paul. Which, or maybe all 3, do you think will come straight back up, if any?
I think West Brom keep Big Sam. If he decides to stay on, I think he'll come back up with them. I think Sheffield United got a lot of work to do. I think they're going to go down and stay down for a bit. I don't think they'll go straight down again. I just think they'll just hover in mid-table, maybe a little bit lower for next season. Fulham, I don't think they might make the playoffs next season. I think, and they might come through depending on obviously how the season goes for them. But West Brom, for me, are the team most likely, I think, will come back up. And not because I like them, I just think that, they've had some games this season where they've been amazing. Look at the win at Chelsea. You've got them in them. And if they just keep doing that, then they will be it up. Mind you, if they'd kept on doing that for the whole thing, they'd have been in the top, wouldn't they? Let's face it. But I think that's what they did. They are good against bigger teams. They just need to work something out.
That's depending on if they keep those players, of course.
Again, that's a massive one, yeah.
I agree, though. I think if they keep Big Sam next season, they'll probably win the championship.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Fulham and West Brom, 1 and 2 next season.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Fulham play nice football, and it obviously worked in the championship. They came up the season before. And it's more or less the same players. So, 1 and 2 for me. And I think I agree with Sheffield. I think they're just going to be a mid-ranked championship team from now on.
Yeah. Which, again, it's a shame because, Sheffield United, one of them, cool teams, don't they? But talk about a shot in the heart, man. I thought our season went bad this season, but theirs, terrible.
No cutting edge from the blades, unfortunately.
Nice.
Waiting all show for that.
All show for that. You got a little video printed at the bottom telling you next trip coming up. Excuse me. Okay, cool. So after we know the relegate, we've got the 2 teams coming up, which are Norwich and Watford. Them 2 went down. They're yo-yo teams at the moment, and they really, let's face it, up, down, shake it all about. How do you think Norwich? I mean, we don't know the 3rd team yet, of course, but how do you think Norwich and Watford will do next season?
Probably both back down again. Of the 2, I think Watford. Well, I know Norwich won the league, but I think Watford are probably more likely to survive, just because they've been in the Premiership and done it before. Whereas this Norwich team, they haven't stayed in the Premiership. I think Watford more likely to survive, but in reality, they'll probably both come up, but go straight back down.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. You want to see newly promoted teams doing well.
Yeah. Like I said, I agree with you. I think Watford will have more in them to stay up out of the 2. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see Norwich because we all seem to have a good game at Norwich. Not so happy to see Watford back up, obviously. First team to batter us last season. But fair play to them. They've come straight back up. They've worked hard and got back to where they need to be. So, right, let's move on to the next and I believe final slide. Here it is, the Golden Boot race. So as you can see, there's a picture
for Kane.
Oh, yes, of Kane himself. Just to let everyone know who's not into football, this isn't the actual Kane who's scoring the goals. Just in case it confuses people.
Just a little joke there.
Yeah, from WWE, if anyone still doesn't know what that is. What a legend, though. But yeah, Kane doing extremely well. 21 goals this season, 13 assists, which is still the best assist record on this list, at least. Outstanding season for Kane, of course. Big question, real quick, is do you still think he'll be at Tottenham next season?
Depends who the manager is that comes in.
Okay.
100% dependent on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they get in a proven winner, a big name, he'll stay. If they don't, he'll go.
Good answer. I like it. Again, same question could be asked for Salah. Will he still be at Liverpool next season after this?
You're the one to answer that.
He probably is, isn't it? Apparently, contract talks have been non-existent. So not even thinking about extending his. I don't think he runs out next season. I think he runs out the season after. But obviously, they always talk just in case they can get a bit of moolah. Obviously, before he decides to wind his contract down. You know what? I've got all the love in the world for Salah. I mean, no matter what he's done. I mean, after this season's been so terrible for us, he's still outshone his 2 partners, and he's still pushing up there. I mean, same thing say because Kane really, where Tottenham are in the league. I mean, that says it all really. How them 2 strikers have been outstanding for their teams this season, regardless. Do I think he'll stay next season? Oh, I think he will. I think he will give it another season, but that'll be his last. I think next season will be his last, which will be unfortunate. but we need to mix it up a bit because after this season, like you said, rightfully Van Dijk was out. They did affect us a lot. But the firepower, Mane just seems completely off ball now. He scored every now and again, but I've got so much love for Mane and Firmino. It's difficult because I love them both to bits. I love all three of them. They brought me the title I would desired for years, as well as everyone else. But at the same time, Salah stepped up again, whereas the other two kind of faded away. So we'll see. But
let's make a note of how close that race is with 3 games left each, 1 goal in it. Who's going to take the Golden Boot?
Oh, well, I suppose it would be nice if I knew the 3 last fixture. I know we've got a couple of, we've got West Brom and someone else. If Salah can bang them in easily, Salah, I think he'll get about another 4. Whereas Kane, I think, might get an extra 2. I'm hoping. At least Salah will win something this season from after a dire season, the rest of the team. So I'm going to go for Salah. How about yourself?
I also think Salah is going to pinch it at the end. Would you rule out a late surge from Fernandes or Son? Of course, currently joint second on 17 goals, joint third really on 17.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how many penalties Man United get in the next 3 games. Obviously, we're playing them on Thursday, tomorrow. Goodness me, I forgot about that. Forgot it's tomorrow. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think if he gets a penalty there, he'll be on 18. If he gets a second penalty, he'll be on 19. It could happen. But I don't think he'll make a late surge. I think it'll be them as the top 2 still, whether it be Salah top or Kane top. Yeah, how about you? What's your prediction? Any late surprises?
I don't think so. I think that table's going to be pretty steady now, and just maybe Kane and Salah swap over.
Yeah.
What about the game tomorrow? Obviously, there was a lot of controversy with Man U's team selection in their previous game against Leicester. Will they be playing a full strength team tomorrow? You have to imagine they will against Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, they knew that league was lost. They knew as try as they might, they weren't going to win that league, Man City's league, regardless of points. I think they knew that. They're saying they're resting their players and this, that, and the other. And yes, they've got a Europa League final coming up, but that's not till next week or week after. I think there's a low point down low. They actually put that team out on purpose so they could scupple Liverpool's chances. But that's just me being a Liverpool fan. Man United fans will probably disagree. I honestly believe it's Liverpool's fault as to why we're not in the top 4 or not. We've been struggling for it. It's not down to Man United. It's down to us. But that certainly wouldn't have helped. And I think they'll have a full strength time. You watch Pogba run up, the Cavani's run up tomorrow. Fernandes will be in the squad. Oh, yeah. Don't doubt that for a second. They'll be in that squad tomorrow. Yeah.
But then if they are, people are moaning about it. But, these players, they're in the squad. Have they really done anything wrong? That's the argument here.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I read once, you could pick whoever you want. You could pick any team you want. And Solskjaer did that against Leicester. He picked his team. He wanted to play against Leicester. That's up to him. Regardless of what goes on behind the scenes or any kind of overtones or anything you might be watching or listening to, at the same time, he gets to pick that team. And if he sincerely feels that game wasn't worth winning, but the Liverpool one is, for whatever reason, maybe it's pride, because obviously we are, regardless of what Man City are doing, I still think Manchester United, Liverpool, between Liverpool and Man United fans, are the biggest game of the season, both home and away. So obviously he's looking at that as a pride thing. So yeah, maybe he just did it because he knows the fans will be watching, and he wants this, that, and the other happening. It's what it is. Like I said, it's Liverpool's fault as to why we're not up there, Man United. So it'll be an interesting game. I'd like to see us win it, and hopefully, if there's any protests this time, it doesn't spoil the game. Unfortunately, after what happened last time, which I might just put out there, I completely agree with every Man United fan out there and what they did. Okay, it went a bit extreme. I don't condone all the violence and all that lot, but I completely agree with their fight towards the Glazers.
Liverpool fan agreeing with the Man U fans.
Mad, isn't it?
So did all folks.
I know. Football first.
It should be. And I believe, on that happy note, that's the end of our show.
I believe it is. There we go. And that's it. We've gone dark. Yeah, so it's been a fantastic another Frost Seymour experience. Anything you'd like to add to it, Nick?
No, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please watch again soon.
Yeah,
if you have enjoyed it, obviously, drop a like.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Quick plug. feel free to drop us a like. Feel free to subscribe to us. You know, we might not be doing it a lot. We're hopefully going to be picking up in the new season. Obviously, over all this COVID thing's done. Obviously, we can then move on with our lives and start living properly again. And obviously, with that, obviously, more of these will become available. We might be branching off into other sports or sports entertainment. Hint, hint. Very shortly. So fingers crossed we can review that for you guys as well. And yeah, I really look forward to it. The next one. I can't wait for the next one, to be fair. So might drop one after the finals. What do you say about that, Nick?
I think it's pretty much a given. Of course, we'll also be with you for the Euros upcoming.
Yes, can't wait for that. So we're waiting for the Euros to pop up. We can review every night. That'll get the subs in, won't it? That'll get the butts on seats. Yeah, man. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you down the road. Peace out.